trouble, if you are having trouble, just put something in chat there. And let me just change which screen I am sharing. Okay, hope everybody can see my screen there. This is how I prefer to set up my my lab layout for Qwiklabs. On the left-hand side, basically, we're going to have the lab itself. There's lots of instructions to go through here. There's you know, snippets of code and whatnot to copy and paste over into the actual lab environment that I have on the right-hand side. I'm just going to go back and show you how to get into this. So once you're enrolled in the quest, build a website on Google Cloud, this is the view you should have here. What we're going to do is just click on deploy your website on Cloud Run. So this is the lab that we're going to be doing today. So it'll take you into here. And then once you've got that, basically there's a 1 hour time limit on this lab. It typically takes quite a bit less than that, so we'll probably be about 25 to 30 minutes as we walk through the steps for this particular lab, and I think the other ones are all usually about an hour each. I find when they give you an hour, it usually takes anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes, depending on how thorough you are, you're doing the steps and whatnot. So I'm going to go ahead and start the lab. Got to confirm that I am not a robot. And you can see my timer is started here. So you can click on Open Google Console. So it's going to take you to this page, console.cloud.google.com. And we're going to sign in with the username that's generated over here. So this actually creates a whole GCP instance for you. So you don't have to, you know, use a personal account and incur any charges or anything like that. So once we're done the lab, this will all be torn down and the GCP environment will go away. When you go and start a new lab, you'll go through this process and it'll create the new lab environment for you for each lab you do. So once we're getting signed in, we have to accept the terms of service and then just hit confirm here. This is just for two-factor authentication. So we don't need to do anything with that because this account won't exist in an hour. So I'm going to agree to the terms of service and then continue. So once I'm through that, this is my GCP environment. This is the Cloud Console here. The first thing that we need to do is go up top where it says select a project. If it hasn't already populated a project for you, come down here and click on the Qwiklabs-GCP project. It's going to have a long, unique ID at the end as well. Okay, so that's the first thing that we need to do. And again, these instructions are all on the left-hand side. If you'd like to revisit this and do it again later, you're more than welcome to. Everything that you need to know is going to be here. It walked through all these steps already. So we're around here. We've selected our project. Now what we're going to do is we're going to activate the Cloud Shell. So Cloud Shell is basically a very small Linux VM that persists in your GCP environment. So you can set this up however you prefer. Obviously, in the lab environment, it's going to get, torn down and then rebuilt every time that you start a new lab. In a production GCP environment, you can customize your environment as you'd like. It's basically a very small VM that starts up every time you start the Cloud Shell. I prefer to maximize it to the full screen. By default, it opens just in this little portion of the screen. You can make it bigger or smaller, but on the top right of the Cloud Shell, you can click it, and this will actually bring it up into its own tab. And again, if I'm skipping ahead or anything, please let me know in the chat, and I can go back to a previous step. So our Cloud Shell is provisioned. So what we can do is just run some of the commands that you see here in the lab instructions. So you can highlight these instructions and copy and paste and drop it into the Cloud Shell. Sorry, I got a question there. Can't see the project in the console. So if you go, have you gotten to like the main GCP page here, like the home page? If you've gotten here, it's this drop down here. So you click on that. Recent might be selected. You can click all. This will show all of the projects that are available. Ignore all of these ones and just go to the Qwiklabs-GCP- whatever your unique idea is.
Yeah, we can go to a breakout room. I can help Aditi.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. Yeah. So to walking through the steps in the lab here, you can either highlight these commands. You're free to type them out yourself, or you can just press this little copy button that pops up on the top right of the window, and then paste it into the Cloud Shell. The first time you put something in, you just have to authorize it to run so that Cloud Shell can run as your logged in user. So you can see the active account here is my student account that's been provisioned. That allows you to you can change personas in Cloud Shell. So you could run as a service account, or you can run as a different user to emulate or use an account that has different set of permissions than your current user does. But for now, we're just using the standard user account. And then we can see what project ID we're working with by doing the Qwiklabs project. You can also see it, it's just highlighted in yellow here. So this is telling you what project we're working in. Okay, so these are just informational commands. It's just making sure that you're logged into the right area. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to grab some code for it's called Fancy Store, which is basically, it's going to be a website that is a storefront for several products. So we're going to clone this repository into our local directory. And I'm going to change into the directory for the monolith to microservices application. And then I'm just going to run this setup shell script. So this is basically going to download any dependencies that I have to build this application with NPM. So this will take 30 seconds. So what we're going to do once this updates is we're basically going to run the app, and the app is going to be running locally in your Cloud Shell. So we'll be able to look at what the application looks like running locally before we use either Cloud Build or Cloud Run to host it. There we go. So that's completed successfully. We will now run the app. So we can see that it says monolith is listening on port 8080. If we go up here, we can do a web preview of port 8080. So I can see that the Fancy Store is now running on my Cloud Shell. Cool. So I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to stop that from running. And we're now going to move on to creating a container, a Docker container with this code embedded in it with Cloud Build. So Cloud Build is the service that we're going to submit this code to, and it will build out the container that we can then deploy to Cloud Run to run it on GCP. So the first thing that we're going to do is enable the API. This basically just tells us that, tells GCP that we want to use the Cloud Build API, allows us to call it. And after that's enabled, it only takes a second. We are going to submit our code, our monolith code that we have locally to Cloud Build. So you can see the syntax here is gcloud build submit. So we're submitting a job to Cloud Build, and we are creating a tag, and we want it to be in gcr.io, which is Google container repository. Slash variable of Google Cloud Project. So that's just going to fill in this Qwiklabs project. And then we want it tagged as monolith version 1.0.0. Okay, so status success. We should now have a history in our cloud build that says it has built a container for us. So if I go up here, I can use my search function to look for cloud build, and I can see under history, I have a build history, and I can go through and look at the logs of what exactly happened here. Okay. So as we're going through the lab, it'll ask you to check your progress as you're going through. That will just make sure that everything is kind of working as intended. So it's checked, and it can verify that I did have a build done by Cloud Build. So our next step is going to be to deploy the container to Cloud Run. We've now got a container built. It's been built by Cloud Build. It's sitting in the container registry. We're now going to deploy it to Cloud Run. So similar to what we did with Cloud Build, we're going to enable the API for Cloud Run. Just means that we can call that service. This one might take a second. Cool. Successfully. Okay, so now I am going to do a gcloud run deploy. So I'm calling gcloud, which is our command line tool, run, which means I want to use the cloud run product, and deploy. So I want to deploy this image. So I have -- image equals gcr.io. This will look very familiar from the tag that we created with Cloud Build. So you can see gcr.io / the variable for our project / monolith 1.0.0. At the end here, we're doing platform managed. Basically what this means is it's just an entirely managed environment. The other option would be to do Cloud Run for Anthos or Cloud Run on GKE. But for this instance, we just want to use the fully managed Cloud Run service. So this is going to ask me a couple things. What do I want the service name to be? I'm just going to press enter to make it monolith. And then we can choose what region we want to deploy the Cloud Run application in. So you can pick any one you want. Typically, we'll pick the one that's closest to us. So I'm going to pick 16, which is North America Northeast 1. That is our Montreal data center. And do I want to allow unauthenticated invocations to monolith? Yes, I do. Would you do that in production? Probably not, but for the purposes of the lab, we will do it here. So this will take a minute. Basically, it's grabbing the container image from the container registry. It is submitting it to the Cloud Run service, and Cloud Run is creating everything that is needed underneath of the container to run this container. And you don't have to worry about any of the services underneath. All you need to do is bring your container to Cloud Run, and it will run it for you. So it's going through a couple different steps here. It's setting the IAM policy. So IAM is identity and access management. It's creating a revision. So it's basically creating revision 1 of the service that we've deployed. And then once that's done, it'll start routing traffic. So that's going to be creating firewall rules and whatnot to actually allow traffic from the internet to get to this Cloud Run instance. It takes a minute or two the first time because it's creating all the baseline resources. So you can see, oh, there it goes. Just finishing up. Once we start creating other revisions, it'll be much, much faster to deploy. So here you can see the service monolith revision. It just created a unique identifier there for a revision. Is deployed and is serving 100% of traffic. And here's our service URL. So on my lab side, I'm just going to go through and say, check my progress. And there we go. We have deployed our container to Cloud Run. So I'm just going to run a command here to verify that it is actually, it's running. This is useful if you were to have a bunch of services that you wanted to see what was running. So Cloud Run services list, this is going to list all of the different services that I have running on Cloud Run. And I'm interested in Cloud Run fully managed. So I'm going to press 1, and I can see that I have monolith. There's the URL, who it was deployed by, last time it was deployed, and the region that it's running in. So I can click on the URL there right from my Cloud Shelf. I click on the URL, it'll open another tab in my browser, and we can have a look at the fancy store, which is exactly the same as the fancy store that we were running locally on our Cloud Shell. So now what we're going to do is we are going to create a new revision of this container, of this service, but we're going to change the concurrency. So this is just going to be an example of what it looks like to deploy an update to a service in Cloud Run and how it doesn't actually impact the uptime of the service. When you deploy a Cloud Run instance, by default, there's a concurrency of 80. And what concurrency means is the number of connections that the Cloud Run instance will handle at once. So this Cloud Run instance, because we didn't modify the concurrency, it's currently handling 80 simultaneous connections. If I run this command, which is very similar to the first one, gcloud run deploy, same image, so it's still monolith 1.0.0, still platform managed, but I've added the tag of concurrency 1. This means that I have to go through the same things. The service itself will only handle 1 connection at a time. Depending on what application you are running on here, there could be a multitude of concurrency numbers that would make sense. Basically, if you were to set your concurrency to 1 and you had multiple users connecting, you could create a scaling policy that said each container can only handle 1 connection. Every time you get a new connection request, spin up a new instance of this application. So you can see that it has deployed much faster than last time. So this revision has been deployed. Again, this is a kind of unique unique name for the revision of that container, and it's serving 100% of traffic. So if I go to my console now, we can see the results of what we've been doing. So I'm going to go to Cloud Run. And we have our application monolith here. And I can take a look at my revision. So you can see that there are 2 revisions. This was the first one we deployed 5 minutes ago. This is the one that we just deployed. And if I look over here, the concurrency is 1 for this revision. If I go to this, the concurrency was 80. Okay, so I'm going to check my progress, make sure that I've got the proper container deployed with the proper concurrency of 1, and that is good. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to flip it back to 80. So if I run this command, again, it's exactly the same as the last one we did, except for concurrency 1, we're doing concurrency 80. That means we're going to just change the properties of the existing deployment so that it'll handle up to 80 connections at once. So it's creating a new container instance and rerouting the traffic. There we go. So that's done. I go back here, do a refresh, and now I have 3 revisions of this application. I'm back to concurrency of 80. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go through and make some changes to the website itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to navigate to the directory where the source is, source code, and basically we've got this pre-populated with 2 different index.js files. So I'm just going to replace index.js with index.js.new. So this is going to make some slight changes to the website. So I am going to open this so we can see the original version, and then I'm going to deploy the new one and we can see what the differences are. Okay. So basically the previous code, the header here says, welcome to the fancy store, take a look at our wide variety of products. What the new one will have is this blurb here. So tired of mainstream fashion ideas, blah, 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 blah. So we're going to have additional text coming up at the top of the main page of our website. So I'm going to change my directory and I'm going to rebuild the monolith application. Okay, built. Change to the monolith directory, and then I'm going to do a npm start. So I'm running monolith again locally on my Cloud shell. This is not running on Cloud Run right now. So if I do a web preview on port 8080, you can see this has the updated header. However, the version that's running in Cloud Run, because we haven't used Cloud Run to deploy it yet, the new version, still has the old header. So I'm going to close that. Now what we're going to do is stop running that. I'm going to do a gcloud build submit. So again, this is going back to the same process we did the first time. So I'm submitting a build to Cloud Build. Cloud Build is going to build the container for us. And it is going into the Google Container Registry. It's going to fill in our Cloud project variable. And we're going to tag it as monolith 2.0.0. There we go. So we've got our cloud build complete. Go to build. And you can see as of 3:01 p.m., we've had another build done. Again, this is the log, so you can go through and see exactly what happened. Go look at the build artifacts, and you can see the image that was written out. It's monolith 2.0.0. I'll check my progress. Okay, good. And now we are going to update the website with zero downtime. So basically the same command that we ran previously when we updated the concurrencies when we first deployed it. We've got gcloud run deploy, same image, but we're going to use monolith 2.0.0. And again, we're going to do platform managed. And service name is going to be monolith. We want it to be the same as the previous service. We still want to run it in the Montreal region. And you can see it's now creating the revision. So it's standing up this, this new service in parallel, basically, with the existing one. It's going to flip the traffic over by rerouting the traffic, and then it's going to tear down the old one. It's doing all this just with that one line of instruction. So you can see now it's serving 100% of the traffic on the new monolith revision. If I click on the service URL here, I now have Fancy Fashion and Style Online with the additional heading. So this is the old version. This is the new version. Both are running on Cloud Run, and was able to update this website with no downtime at all. So if I want to verify my deployment, I can just do gcloud run services describe monolith. This will tell us exactly what our deployment looks like right now. So it's verifying the service is in the North American Northeast 1 region. Here's our URL if we wanted to open it in a new tab. We're allowing ingress traffic. And all of this different information here. So you can see it's listening on port 8080. It's got 256 megs of memory, one virtual CPU, 80 concurrent connections, yada, yada, yada. And then if we wanted to get a list of all of our services, so if you had multiple different services running on Cloud Run, you could run this and get a list of all of your services, similar to what we did before, with all of your URLs, who was deployed by, last deployment date, and where it's running. Okay, so that's the bulk of the lab. There are a couple additional cleanup steps we can do here if you want to. You don't have to if you don't want to do it. As soon as you press end lab, it's going to tear down the environment for you, and you don't have to worry about it. But if you wanted to, you can run through these. Basically, the first one here is deleting the images in the container for monolith 1.0.0 as well as monolith 2.0.0. So it's just tidying up the container registry. The next one is going to get rid of the artifacts in cloud storage. So that's where Cloud Build stored its artifacts. And finally, we are going to tear down our application in Cloud Run. So gcloud beta run services delete monolith platform manage. So that will kill our services that are running in Cloud Run. Sure, I want to continue. Yep. There. So if I refresh this, it should not. There we go. Doesn't allow me to connect because it is no more. So that's the end of the lab. This is the first lab of, I think, 4 for this skill badge. Like I said, you're free to continue on this on the quest in Qwiklabs after this session today. The subscription is valid for 30 days. So once you click End Lab, basically your account will be provisioned a 30-day unlimited subscription. So you can go in and play around with different labs and take advantage of it. If you have questions as you're going along, you're absolutely welcome to contact myself or contact Ahmed. Our information will be shared with you. I think it was probably in the invite or in the details for the event. So I'm going to go ahead and end the lab. Thought the lab was excellent, 5 stars. And that's it. Okay. So
I just want to say thank you so much, Matt. This was very informative and very simple. I followed through and I could do it very easily. So thank you so much.
Perfect, no problem. So next we'll go through just a Kahoot quiz. I don't know if everybody here has used Kahoot or not, but we put together a pretty quick one. It's just 10 questions, but some of it is related to the content that we went over today, and some of it is just kind of general Google knowledge. So shouldn't be a walk in the park for everybody, but we will have some giveaway items for the top 3 people that score in the Kahoot quiz. I unfortunately don't have them yet. We've been very behind in getting our swag stuff due to the pandemic and the ridiculous amount of demand. But the top 3, we will get something organized to send out to you. We'll get a Google coffee mug or a T-shirt or a hat or something like that. So let me change what screen I'm sharing here, and I'll get the Kahoot started. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, so I'll give everybody a minute to join up. You just go to kahoot.it. You can do it on your computer or on your phone. I find the phone is usually easiest if you have it handy, and just put in this game pin.
I'm just gonna join and see if it's working or not.
Sure.
Yeah. It is working. I can see my name on the screen.
No. All right. Well, you're free to participate, Sharif, if you wanna go for it.
Oh, sure.
We have DM Dennis, I'm guessing, is in as well. We can get going. Hadir, do you want to join in?
Sure.
If you want. You don't have to. All right, we'll go through. Oh, here, I'll give you a second to join up, and then we should have 4, I think.
If someone's trying to join, please type something in the chat so we wait for you.
Almost there.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
I made it.
So how many products does Google have with over 1 billion users? Eight. That's right. Sharif's on top.
Wow.
Google Cloud currently has a data center in Vancouver. Right now, we're just Montreal, and we have Toronto on the way.
I'm killing it.
By what year does Google intend to be operating entirely on carbon-free energy?
I was driving back home when you said this part, but I did.
That's all right. 2030. Oh, someone else on the board. Perfect. What does Kubernetes do?
I know that one.
I am ashamed to say that I don't know the answer.
Are you joking? I think I hired enough DevOps engineers to know.
I did guess correctly, but
What's the branding for Google's mobile devices? General Google knowledge.
Cool.
But you could confuse people with the Nexus because they did start out with the Nexus, though.
That's fair. I should say current. Brandon.
It does say devices.
What was the Google Cloud product we use to host our website? So the key here is host. We did use Cloud Build. Cloud Build was for building our container. Cloud Run is where we hosted it. What was Google called when it was first founded?
Yeah.
Two people got it. Kind of a weird name, but yeah, that's what it was. True or false? Head office in Mountain View is called the Googleplex.
I visited it in 2012, but I can't remember. Like I guess that's true, and I guess true, but like I couldn't remember.
I was going to try to throw people off and put in Google Dome and make it false, but I thought that was a little unfair. True or false? We support open source applications on Google Cloud.
Hopefully. Wouldn't make sense otherwise.
It's a bit of a gimme. YouTube was acquired by Google in what year?
Oh, that's a hard one.
It threw me off. But... yeah, 2006. It didn't seem like that long ago. But...
wow.
No way.
yeah. Crazy. Sharif with the win.
I do like to withdraw from the competition and get Anita to get my gift, Aditi to Nair to get my gift, and then like whoever's after Hadir should get the second gift. Like we shouldn't count. Like
No, that's all right. We'll get some interesting stuff for all the attendees here.
awesome.
All right, so that's what we had for content. I think we can open it up for Q&A. If anybody has any questions or yeah, for the prizes and stuff. Hadir and Sharif, are you guys able to gather the information and then we'll coordinate logistics?
Sure, I'll send a post-event email, and it'll have a Google form, and like we'll get the information.
Perfect. All right, if people had to drop now, thanks so much for taking the time to join us today. We appreciate you guys and gals coming out. And yeah, I'm here to take any questions. I think Ahmed had to step away for a minute. I'm not sure if he's back yet, but I'm certainly happy to answer any questions people might have.
I was wondering if people wanted to unmute their microphones and speak.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, because my microphone's been off all day. Like, it's very wonky. This was fun. Thank you.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Learned a lot. And I just wanted to know if we can enroll for other, like, study sessions on Qwiklabs just for a month, though, right? It's free for a month.
Yeah, for the month, I believe you should be able to go and enroll for any quest you would like that you have access to there.
So we use the same credentials.
Yeah, use your same credentials because the subscription is tied to your login, and it'll tell you if you can access it or not. I think you should be able to access other quests, I believe.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
You can see my screen and look at the top right here, and you see under your name monthly subscription. That means that it's active, and it's going to tell you on the screen how long is it active for. And if I think it only activates if you completed the task that we were trying to do, the one for build a website, this one with the credits I wanted to use. So if you completed that, then it should be good for you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, thank you everybody for coming. We really enjoyed having you, and thank you so much, Matt and Ahmed, for the presentation. That was very informative. A lot of stuff I didn't know about Google Cloud, and especially like going green and that information. Like it matters now to companies because companies do get tax breaks for for using green technologies and stuff like that. So I do love that bit of information.
Yep, absolutely. We've had organizations actually, have one of their decision points to go with Google be because of our environmental responsibility. So, yeah, it's a good initiative, and it's it really it's a good story to tell because not all organizations, especially technology organizations out there, are investing as much in being environmentally friendly as we are.
That is true. I work for a company called DaySmart, based out of Michigan, and we use AWS for most of our stuff. And I can't believe like Amazon. I don't think they're going spending as much effort in being green as Google. But don't quote me on that. I have not researched it, but I feel like Google has been chasing after that more than Amazon.
Yeah, all of the major hyperscalers have their own way of tackling the initiative. Like certainly Microsoft and Amazon have their own environmental initiatives. But we're pretty proud to say that we were kind of the first ones to commit to being 100% carbon free by 2030, and I believe to date ours is still the most aggressive target.
Awesome.
I see that Dennis is come on camera. Hi, do you have a question for us?
No, I'm just going to listen to all the words of wisdom.
It's definitely great seeing you on screen.
And technical issues.
Did anybody wasn't able to finish the quest and would like some help finishing the quest? I'm sure I'm available to help, and maybe Matt also is available. Like if you had to stop mid quest, then we can help you with that.
Yep, for sure.
Hi, is that the Kahoot.it quest?
No, actually, the actual task, of completing hosting the website and making sure that it has like a blue-green fleet to where we switched it out without any downtime on Google Cloud. Did you guys complete that, or would you like help with that? And gals, of course.
I had to hop on another call, so I think I missed it entirely. Like I don't see it in the chat, or yeah.
I had a question.
Sure.
How do you make the badge that you receive after you finish this successfully? How do you make that public or add it to your LinkedIn or something?
Yeah, so once you finish all of the the labs in the quest, I think there are 4 of them. You'll be awarded the digital badge, and right below it there will be links for LinkedIn or to download a PNG or however you'd like to share it.
Okay, thank you.
So I can expand on that answer. If you see my screen, I've already completed like the top part and completed the deploy your website on Cloud Run part. But there are a video here and then 3 labs and then 1 more video and then 1 more lab. If you finish all of these, I guess you get this badge and you can put it on LinkedIn or wherever you like.
Chief, can you zoom in on the badge?
Thank you
a
so
little bit?
much.
It's already grayed out. I know.
Yeah, it's I think they graded out on purpose because we didn't earn it yet. But if you really want to see the picture,
Got
You're
it.
taking all the fun out of it, Sharif.
That's been more enticing.
well, I'm a developer, so like I can't just let technology block me from doing what I want to do.
I'm really happy to see a few new faces today. It's been a while.
So after the event, when we send out the survey and the form for, we'll only send the form for the gifts for the people who actually attended, but we'll send out the survey to everyone who was registered because we also want to know for people who didn't attend if something came up or the topic was not interesting. We want to know for future reference what is interesting to you. And we want to get your input on what to make an event about next. All right. With that, I'd like to conclude the event. Thank you so much to our speakers and to our guests and for everyone who chipped in. Thank you so much and have a great weekend.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate you attending.
Bye-bye.